And what's next?
Yes, next we'll be looking at something that's been under research for 50 or so years, and that's finally coming closer to reality. And it's something that's called emulsion fuel, but have you heard of it?
Emulsion fuel? No, I don't think so. What kind of fuel is it?
Well, it's a fuel that they say you can increase the quantity of by adding water.
Well, Japan is a big energy consumer and has very few domestic supplies and imports most of its energy resources. So something like that would certainly be a big help.
It certainly would, and it's actually not just Japan. Globally, energy consumption is increasing, and countries in Asia in particular are forecast to see higher demand for energy. So there are concerns that international competition over resources will intensify.
And I know there are worries that those resources could dry up one day too.
Yes, that's right, and it's been said that the reserves of petroleum and natural gas will be depleted in 50 or so years, and so this may offer a way to make remaining supplies last longer.
But, Utsuda-san, doesn't adding water lower the performance or quality of fuel oil?
That's what one would think, isn't it? But users of the fuel say they haven't had any problems so far, and another advantage is that emissions are less toxic compared to conventional fuels.
So you can reduce financial as well as environmental costs. Sounds like a dream come true.
It does, doesn't it? And the technology to manufacture this eco-friendly fuel is also attracting interest from around the world. And we have a report on how it's being developed, so take a look.
The snow-covered landscape of Fuji Yoshida, Yamanashi Prefecture. On a regular road, here is the first bus in Japan that runs on a particular eco-friendly fuel. That fuel is 50% water and 50% light oil. In other words, it's light oil diluted with water.
Riding it, I haven't had any problems so far.
Is such a fuel really possible? We arrive at a company called Eneco Holdings. Yasuhiro Yamamoto is in charge of development. Here, they produce an eco-friendly fuel, which is light oil mixed with water to increase the volume. In effect, it's watered-down fuel.
This is the refining device to mix water and light oil.
To make it, first 10 liters of light oil is poured into a tank. Next, water, also 10 liters, is added. Then, the lighter fuel oil rises to the top, while the heavier water pools at the bottom, and there's a clear separation. Just as the saying goes, water and oil don't mix. And the key is an agent that they developed.
A surfactant. It's a glue to stick water and oil together.
When the agent is added and mixed in, the 50% water and the 50% oil fuse. This is what's called emulsion fuel, made from light oil mixed with water. Analyzed at an inspection facility, the water content is almost undetectable, and the fuel is nearly the same as light oil under Japan industrial standards. But how is it that combustion efficiency doesn't decline when water is added? The water that goes into the oil, when subject to high heat, boils and triggers an explosion that turns the oil into small particles. In that way, the area of the oil exposed to heat increases, making it burn more easily. What's more,
By using this fuel, it's possible to cut CO2 emissions by 50%. Also, SOx and NOx emissions from exhaust gas are reduced by more than half.
this next-generation eco-friendly fuel is being used on a trial basis by one company. During the winter, their main work is snow removal. Their biggest headache is fuel costs. So they started using emulsion fuel.
Compared to conventional 100% light oil,
The power and fuel efficiency are at the same level. So I think it's good light oil.
1 month after they started using Eneco's fuel, their fuel cost was just 480,000 yen compared to 760,000 yen in a typical month, savings of nearly 40%. With light oil half made with water, they were able to reduce fuel costs and also become more environment friendly, an eco-friendly fuel to kill two birds with one stone. But challenges remain. This fuel is currently manufactured and sold only in Yamanashi Prefecture.
When light oil is mixed with other substances, it's not properly taxed and therefore considered illegal.
Light oil is subject to a local tax of 32 yen per liter. But emulsion fuel, which is 50% water, can only be taxed half that amount, meaning vehicles running on it are not permitted on public roads. It was only by paying taxes on the water portion that Eneco finally received the green light from Yamanashi Prefecture.
We're hoping to find a way to lessen the tax burden by even a little bit. Then people across Japan and across the world will be able to use it. That's our biggest challenge.
Even as a tax wall stands in the way towards greater adoption, this small company in Yamanashi Prefecture is attracting attention from around the world. Recently, Mr. Yamamoto welcomed two people who arrived from Thailand. A Royal Thai Air Force colonel and a trading firm president. They look at the devices to make next-generation fuel with keen interest. Petroleum demand continues to increase every year in Thailand, which relies on imports for 70% of its needs. For energy-scarce countries, this is a technology that's desperately needed.
I really guess about the side contacts today, and I think it's useful for my unit or my country very much.
Eneco's technology is being sought not just by Thailand. The company has already signed contracts with more than a dozen countries.
You can look all around the world, but Eneco is the only one with the technology. We're going to continue promoting this globally.
Eneco is also continuing research into further increasing the proportion of water.
Fuel that's been through emulsion once is put through another emulsion process. It's never been done.
This is what he means. Emulsion fuel, that's a mixture of 50% water and 50% light oil, is mixed with a further 50% water. The emulsion process is repeated a total of 3 times.
It's complete.
The first time, the water proportion is 50%. The second time, it's 75%. And the third time, it becomes 87.5%. Can this really be called light oil? On this day, Mr. Yamamoto visits the Shin Nihon Kentei Kyokai to request an analysis of his company's emulsion fuel.
Do you have the results?
Yes.
Let me have a look. It's almost the same level. It's perfect. Thank you.
Even after being emulsified 3 times, the combustion efficiency is almost the same as that of conventional light oil. This is the person in charge of the inspection.
It's surprising. It's no different from regular light oil.
Mr. Yamamoto is still not satisfied. He says he'll continue working on developing even more eco-friendly fuels.
3 times for a water content of 87.5%. We want to be able to do this with absolute certainty. We're also testing if we can increase it to about 10 times.